It is a special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District. Today, Monday, June 25th, 2018. We are beginning at 12:02 p.m. in the boardroom of the Administration Building located at 2000 North 23rd Street in McAllen, Texas. At this meeting, there will be discussion and action by the board on several items listed on the agenda. First item on the agenda will be the public meeting to discuss the 2018-2019 proposed budget. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the public meeting. We're here to discuss the 2018-2019 budget. Ms. Garcia will proceed with the presentation. Ms. Garcia.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here as well. The 2018-2019 budget has been prepared. It was a work that began back in January, and over the course of several board workshops, it's culminating into this final process. So in our public meeting, we'd like to first of all acknowledge the Board of Trustees for their direction and contribution in the preparation of this 2018-19 budget, as well as our superintendent, Dr. Gonzalez. And then, of course, we'd also want to emphasize that the budget is prepared with our school district vision, mission, our strategic plan, as well as our goals and our facilities education master plan in mind as a guiding tools for the preparation. We'd also like to acknowledge the support and assistance of the executive leadership team, as well as our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Cynthia Medrano Richards, as well as all of their direct reports and principals for their contribution in this process. We could have certainly not have accomplished this monumental task without their support and contributions. As required by law, the district published a notice of today's public meeting to discuss the budget. The notice was published in the Monitor, and it was published on June 12, 2018. For the public's review, we do have on the screen a budget summary report, which is a comparison of the 17-18 actual budget to the 18-19 proposed budget. The yellow column is the 17-18 budget that was approved last June, and the 18-19 is the proposed. As you can see, it is broken down by function level, and it provides the aggregate expenditures as well as a per pupil expenditures. When you compare these 2 years, you will notice that there's a decrease for most of the functional levels, and it's due to the declining revenues for this year, this coming year. One of the new requirements for the 85th legislature was that school districts had to reflect in their proposed budget a separate line item. We are now tracking expenditures for public notices, and as far as the 17-18 expenditures, the district spent $18,570 for the year on public notices. And these type of notices would be legal notices as required for posting of the budget. Another example would be our bid notices when we advertise for solicitation. The proposed budget for these such notices for the 18-19 is $18,100. The district must first approve the appropriations by function. So here we have the 18-19 accelerated instruction funds for state compensatory for at-risk children. This is divided by the functional level, function 11 instruction, 13 curriculum and development, school leadership, function 23, and 31 guidance and counseling. So the total appropriations for the accelerated instruction funds is $303,535. The next section is the appropriations by function for the 18-19 general general fund, the debt service, and capital projects fund. The district has a zero capital projects funds. However, on the debt and general fund is outlined below. The first column on the left-hand side, it breaks it down by the different types of revenue sources: local, state, federal, and other. We also have a spot for fund balance contributions. In terms of the general fund, those figures are outlined there, bringing the total revenues at $233,466,587 for the general fund. For debt services, we also have a total of $94,900. And as I mentioned before, zero is allocated for capital projects fund, bringing the total of all funds to $242,461,487. The chart on the right-hand side breaks the revenues by the functional level. And as you can see, it's for the three separate funds that were identified. In addition to that, the board has called for a tax ratification election and has approved allocation of those estimated funds of $7.8 million. Those funds have been allocated for safety and security projects, student achievement, student focus, science labs at the three high schools and Lamar Academy. In addition to that, attracting, retaining high-quality staff has been made a priority through staff compensation, which you will hear about in a subsequent board item. And then as a contingency allowance, the board has allocated $500,000. Should the TRE results be favorable, then that funding would be available for spending after the election. Our next slide is the two-year budget comparison of revenues. This breaks it down by object code. So it's a little bit different than the information is presented in a different format. Same information, but a different way of looking at it. As you can see, the 18-19 budget was developed using an ADA, average daily attendance figure, of 21,651.33 in comparison to last year's budget, which was established at 22,153.90 ADA. The charts identify the total budget, and it outlines the percentage of budget as well as the revenues per ADA. It gives a comparison of the two fiscal years, the 18-19 fiscal year, in comparison to the 17-18 original budget. And then, of course, we also have an outline of the other resources and the fund balance contributions. And then the charts break them down by the different sources and the 2 years compared. In addition to that, this chart breaks down the information, the same information, further down into another category, and that is by the object code. It outlines for example, in the general fund, the payroll expenditures, the professional and contracted services, supplies and material, other operating costs, debt service, and capital outlay. So as you can see, the percent of total for example, for payroll costs from the total budget is 79.21 proposed for the 18-19. And if you notice at the bottom, if we take into account the non-monetary transactions that are embedded in the budget for the TRS on behalf, it actually totals out to 75.44 in comparison to last year's 79%. And of course, last year's percentage of payroll costs from the total budget also excluded declared disaster one-time projects in that figure. So the pie charts will identify that same information in a graphical format. The appropriations budget summary is provided for general debt service and capital projects funds, and this is broken down by the different fund numbers. So again, it's the same information broken down in a different format, and it compares the 17-18 original budget to the 18-19 proposed budget. At this time, I will turn it over back to Mr. Vela.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. I have two announcements. Number one, Mr. Alvarado has joined us, but his webcam is not working, so we won't be, oh, there he is.
There he is.
Mr. Alvarado, welcome. No, read lips. Okay. And number two, at this time, I'd like to open the public comment portion of our meeting. So at 12:13, I will recess the special meeting and open the public comment portion of the meeting. We are here to discuss the 2018-2019 budget. At this time, I open the floor for public comment. If there's anyone from our audience that would like to come forward and express an opinion or make a comment regarding the 2018-2019 budget, please do so. And it looks like we have a speaker. Welcome to the podium, Mrs. Scow. The floor is yours.
First of all, I would be negligent if I didn't tell all of you, thank you for all the work you've done. It's hours and hours. I was here for a lot of it. I didn't see everything, but I believe you sincerely have tried to think through all of the choices that you've made for the budget. A lot of it was very hard. I was on the receiving end of unhappiness, but after I've talked to them, that is the staff, I think they're coming around. I would like to say that I've done 650 people in regard to talking to them about the TRE, how this will help our district. I have about 800 more to talk to. I'm doing small groups of no more than 20 because I wanted to be sure that they had time to ask a lot of questions. I think the TRE, or the tax ratification election, is very important. It will make possible things for our children in the district. As a teacher for 41 years, I know how important supplies and the right kind of building for our children, how all those are important. I noticed that the budget was already up on the web this weekend, and that was good. I got to look it over. I feel very positive, and I hope that I can continue to contribute to the AFT group so that they can hear the information and make decisions and think about what they want to do on, is it September the 8th? Have I got the right date? But again, thank you for all your hard work, and in this time of angst for a lot of folks, we'll see what happens. Even Harley-Davidson has trouble today. They're moving part of their operation to Europe. So, I mean, that's a company I am very interested in, to see what they come up with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Scow. Is there anyone else from the audience who would like to make a comment at the podium? Seeing no one rush to the front. At 12:16, I'd like to close the public comment portion of our meeting and reconvene our special meeting. Next item on the agenda, Dr. Gonzalez, is, go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is a budget addendum, and it's for the establishment and approval of salary increases as part of the budgetary process if a tax ratification election is called. or by the Board of Trustees and it receives voters' approval, or shall I say, if the TRE that's been called receives voter approval in the fall. So we are requesting action on this item.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Aliceda and seconded by trustee Suarez. Is there any comments or discussions or question on the item by the board? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. I'm requesting a roll, no, not on this one. Record vote.
For number 4?
I'm going to call for it anyway. Okay. I'm requesting a record vote by members of the board. I will start on my far right with trustee Esparza. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Alvarado? Give me a thumbs up. We can't hear you.
No, he just said aye.
Oh, he did, okay. The motion carries, record vote 7-0. Thank you, board. Next item on the agenda is approval of the McAllen Independent School District budget for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Yes, sir. The Texas Education Code and Board Policy CE requires every local education agency to prepare a budget of anticipated expenditures and revenues on or before June 19th. The budget is to be approved by the district's Board of Trustees no later than June 30th or earlier. The official budget is comprised of the general fund, which includes food service, and the debt service fund. This is a three-motion agenda item, and we are requesting action on these items. And we'll start with motion one would be that the Board of Trustees, or should I let?
I can go ahead.
Okay, yes, sir.
The first part of this motion, like I said, Dr. Gonzalez said, it's a three-part motion. Motion one would be that the Board of Trustees approve the accelerated instruction funds budget of $303,535 for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30, 2019. And again, I'm going to ask for a record vote.
So move on the motion.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Suarez. Any comments or questions, discussion on the item? Hearing none, again, a record vote, and I'll start with trustee Esparza. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
He got an idea.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, board. Motion two, that the Board of Trustees approve the general fund budget of $233,466,587, the debt service budget of $8,994,900, and the capitals project fund budget of 0, for a total budget of $242,461,487 for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30, 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
It's been moved by trustee Suarez and a second by trustee Farina. Is there any questions, comments on the item? Hearing none, again, a roll call vote, and I'll start with trustee Esparza signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
We got you. Ito, good job.
Motion carries 7-0. Motion three, that the Board of Trustees approve the tax ratification projects budget of $7,838,329 for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30, 2019, pending a favorable outcome of the tax ratification election to be held on September 8th, 2018. What say you, board?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Farina. There's a question by trustee Suarez.
Today it's Juarez.
Suarez today.
I guess this is for Mrs. Garcia. The motion reads that it'll begin in July, but it doesn't take effect until after the election, right?
Yes, sir. The funds are already included as part of the budget that
Right.
was presented into
Okay.
that total. So
Okay.
that's why we have July there. But we would not be able to spend those funds until after a favorable outcome.
Perfect, okay.
Anyone else have any comments, questions, or discussion on the item? Hearing none, I'll ask again for a roll call vote, and I'll start with trustee Esparza. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, board.
Good job, Ito, but you only get one vote.
Item number 5 on today's agenda is approval of regional fiber optic network. Dr. Gonzalez will present.
Yes, sir. This is a proposal for fiber service, internet access service, and network equipment through Region 1, and on behalf of all Region 1 consortium members, and we are requesting action on this item.
Are there any comments or questions on this item?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Trustee Esparza.
Is, whose project is this?
It would be mine, so.
Is anybody in DOT giving the green light on this?
I met with, with the Region 1 Chief Technology Officer. During that meeting, when he presented this project to us, we included Ms. Sonia Mata, Mr. Sam Juarez, and then we also had the 3 network support specialists, and they were, they all saw the presentation and were in favor of that. In addition to that, some of the districts and McAllen as well is proposing that when this takes in effect, possibly the earliest date would be in the summer of 2020. We would propose that this would be the primary source for the fiber optic network, but we would have as a contingency plan an additional channel that would be just the districts. In case there's ever any interruptions, we could switch over the mission-critical systems over to that contingency.
And I read, I guess in the report, that our current contract ends in 2019. This one's not going to take over till 2020, so
Correct.
what are we going to do in that lapse?
There will be a gap, so we would continue as usual. We would have, we would bid it out again for the services for the term up until this contract is available. And then, of course, we always have a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day out clause that we can exercise. So we're going to have to program it, the next RFP, to be able to align with that. By then, we'll have a better date on the start date, so that will help us with the planning of that transition.
And everybody that was involved in that meeting with the DOT gave a thumbs up on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Esparza. Any other comments, questions, or discussion on this item? Is there a motion by the board?
I move that we proceed as.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Trustee Alvarado and seconded by Trustee Saldivar. If there's no further discussion on this item, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
He's not opposed, he's just delayed.
Was that a late aye?
Yeah.
A late aye.
Yes, it was a late aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Next item is the approval of request for offers, premier sponsorship and advertising. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district solicited offers for the McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium scoreboard sponsorship and advertising, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved. I like the person that's doing it.
Second.
This item approval was moved by Trustee Aliceda and seconded by Trustee Suarez. Is there any questions or comments on this item?
Yes, I have a question, Mr.
Mr. Alvarado.
Can we limit the commercials for the owner, please?
So he's not on the footage?
That's not part of the contract, Mr. Alvarado, so the answer is no. This particular contract is with Lee's Pharmacy, so on this item, I will be, let the record reflect that I will be abstaining, and I will pass the gavel to Mr. Suarez so that he can call for the vote. Vice President Suarez.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That was delayed.
It's delayed, right?
Delayed aye, or is that,
You're approving it, right, Mr. Alvarado?
It was delayed, I'm approving it.
You Aggies are always delayed.
Motion carries 6-0.
Motion carries 6-0. And let the
601.
601. Let the record show that Mr. Vela did not vote on the item.
Thank you, Board. Having no other items on the agenda, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Alicea and seconded by trustee Suarez that we adjourn at 6:27 PM.
Whoa, 12:27.
That one too.
Where are you at?
12:27 PM. Thank you, Board. We are adjourned.